Do you want a leather valet tray in any size of your choosing, made from your leftover scraps with a pattern that you can make at home? Valet trays or catch-all trays are perfect for keeping your everyday carry organized. You can use them for your keys, your wallet, your jewelry, your phone, and they make really good gifts as well. Many tutorials start with a complicated pattern that you need to buy, download, print, and then get started with. In this video, I'm going to show you a fast, easy way to make your own custom valet tray in any size of your choosing. Okay, let's dive into it. So this method allows you to work with basically any thickness of leather that you like. All you need to do is just tailor the size of your fastenings to make sure that it's nice and secure. So this is a 2 to 3 ounce little catch-all tray that I made. So very thin, and this is a lightweight one. And then another example, this is a much thicker, this is a 7-8 ounce, more sturdy tray that I made. The same approach can be used for any thickness of leather that you like. Just pick something that you want to use. So I have got this combination tan. This is a Latigo. This is roughly a 6-7 ounce thickness, pretty firm tempered. It will take a punch pretty well, so when we personalize it later on, that will look nice. And I think it's quite a nice like dark burgundy color. This should go quite nicely with some gold hardware just to fasten it together. So just get a scrap that you want to work with, and then we'll size it up from there. So in addition to our leather, we'll obviously need a cutting mat. We're then gonna need a cork-backed ruler and a sharp blade. We're then gonna need something to punch some holes with. So you can either use a rotary punch or you can use a set of circular punches. It's completely up to you. We will need an awl or something that you can make a few marks with on the leather. You'll need something to fasten it together. I'm going to be using some double cap brass rivets today, but you can use anything you like here. Chicago screws, magnet snaps, button studs. Check out the video in the description or up on the screen now for my deep dive guide into the button stud and why I think it's the best fastener. Really, any fastener will work for this project. And then you will need some tools to finish the edges. So I'm going to use an edge beveler, I'm going to use some tokenol, and then I'm going to have my wood slicker. Now the first step is to cut your leather piece out. This can be rectangular or square, it's completely up to you. You just have to consider the border that you need on each edge of your shape. Next, we are going to cut these slits, which form the border. So what you want to do here is measure 1 inch or 25 millimeters away from the corner, and do this on all 4 corners, and then cut a slit that is 1 inch or 25 millimeters long. Continue this around all 4 corners and you will create your shape, which has 4 slits that come off either corner. If you've got any value out of this video so far, please consider to like and subscribe. It really helps me to continue making these videos. Okay, so the method we're going to use, and this gets you the perfect dimensions every time, regardless of what thickness of leather or what size of tray you're making. So draw a line that is 1 inch away from the corner and measure 1 inch down that line and draw a dot. That is the extent of the slit that we have just cut. Now draw a diagonal line that goes up towards the corner. Then from here, measure halfway, and then just go slightly above that and draw an X. So let's recap. So you've gone 1 inch or 25 mil away from the corner, then 1 inch or 25 mil down. We've then drawn a diagonal line from that point back up towards our corner, marked the halfway point, and then just gone slightly above that and drawn an X. Then you can now use this template to go around each of the 4 corners and marking a hole with your awl. This will give you your pattern that you need to make sure you get a perfect dimension every time. Okay, the next step is going to be edge preparation. So make sure you have a really sharp edge beveler. Then we're going to bevel all of the edges on both the grain and the flesh side. And you want to make sure you also get into those slits and bevel those. Then it's going to be grabbing some tokenol, applying it a nice amount, letting it dry slightly, and then get my wood slicker out to burnish those edges. And you want to burnish each of the 4 edges as well as each of the 4 slits on both sides. We're now going to be punching our holes for our fasteners. So I'm going to be using rivets. So what I want to do here is make sure I get the perfect length of post for my rivet. So I'm just using 2 pieces of leather to make sure that I can check that dimension. I'll then pick a hole that is only slightly bigger than the post of my rivet so that I get a nice tight fit. So the next step is to do some pre-bending. Now you'll see that the leather will start to wrinkle as you're doing this, but that's fine. We're introducing a 90-degree bend, so there's going to be some distortion to the leather. What you want to do here is just bend up all of the corners and all of the slits. I'm excited to see your valet trays that you make. Follow me on Instagram and tag me in your posts. So earlier we made our pattern for the first hole, but because the thickness of leather you choose will vary, we need to actually mark up and create a perfect point for the next hole. So what we do is we bend the corner into that 90 degree, and then through the hole that we've already punched, we'll use our awl to mark the secondary hole. And this means that you can work with any thickness of leather you like, and this pattern will work perfectly. So continue round on all 4 corners. So what you'll have is your first hole that you punched, and then a small mark for the perfect point for your second hole. We'll then grab our rotary punch or a set of circular punches, and then just punch out the remaining 4 secondary holes. So your tray will look like this, ready for the next step. So this is completely optional, but I always like to add some personalization and some branding to my leather pieces. So I'm just going to use a logo punch here, and this has come out really nicely for this piece of leather. Okay, so rivets, let's talk about rivets. So there's 2 ends to a rivet. There's the cap, and then you have the post. So I always like to have the post on the inside or visible face of my tray. So this face here. I find that once you hammer it into the anvil, it just looks a lot cleaner. So I'm gonna get my rivet, and then I'm gonna poke it through the inside face of the main edge. I'm gonna then bend the flap up and push it through the back side. What I'll then do is put the caps on each of these 4 rivets, and then we're ready for the next step, which is setting our rivets. So you wanna grab your anvil and your hammer, and then what you can do is just put the tray up on its tool end and hammer through to set each of the 4 rivets. Okay, perfect, and you're done. So this is your own custom leather valet tray, created in any size you like, with any thickness of leather you like, without needing to buy or download or print a pattern. So enjoy. Thanks for watching.